Well, good afternoon to you again. Friday, weekend's on us again, innit? Be a bit some thundery, innit? Heavy. But there we are. A drop of rain will do good. Good for the tedders and everything else. I hope everybody's all right. And if the Lord despair us, well, I shall hopefully be back here again Monday. Give you a few more yarns for next week. Keep you going a bit. We'll have a nice weekend. Stay safe is the answer. Stay safe. Just be careful. We'll get through this. Now, this here one's by Herbert Lean and is about eating a pasty, really. Corn pasty. Pasty day. Feather was out gate when along comes a stranger. A countryman he was. First time he'd ever been to Cornwall and was on holiday. Out there chatting, there was till dinner time, so father asked him if he wanted to have a bite. Now, I was begging, said mother. Passed us that day and put in a spare one in case he stayed. And the fire was good handsome. He'd never seen a pasty before, but heard tell of 'em, of course. Set us down, said father. We don't use no knives or no forks, 'cause pasties are meant to hold in your hand. Looks good and smells just as good, replied the stranger, as he took his pasty up same as we. Now, father, for a bit of fun, said, Mister, excuse me, but you started to eat your pasty upside down. Oh, I am so sorry, says the man. Is there a right way and a wrong way to hold it? You must forgive me for being so rude. Oh, yes, said father. The crimp must be on the right hand side, for they always mark an initial on each one of the end of the pasty, so that if you can't eat an all, they can have 'em for tea or supper when a corner to always go good, doesn't it? Fair enough, said the stranger. He turned the pasty round and started the other end. I tell 'ee, 'twas some fun, 'cause as soon as he started to bite, the gravy was coming out the other end, and there he was. Every bite he took had turned the pasty round, suck up the gravy like a man playing a mouth organ. Then he had go and wash his hands. Now it's puzzled which end do a man start with a pasty, if he's what we call coochie or left-handed. I see Mrs. James is dead, said Tom, changing the subject. Blinds down, are they? Asked mother. No, said Tom. Can't pull down no blinds. Haven't been nothing but newspapers stuck up their windows for months while she had been spring cleaning. Well, how do we know she's dead? Well, 'cause she bought some tatters of me afore yesterday. Claimed to slow. She said, I'll pay you, Mara, if I'm living. She hasn't paid me yet, and yesterday was Mara. Letter was dropped in my house by mistake from Mr. James N.A. Don't know he had any letters after his name, says Feather. Oh, that do only mean, or so I heard to tell, national assistance, replied Tom. N.A. Suitin' very well there, Father, 'cause if you promise anything, you'll never have 'em. Mrs. James even ordered her coffin and paying for £1 a week. Don't blame her in one way, 'cause he would bury her in an orange box if he could. But there, Mr. James told she afore they got hitched he wasn't no ladies' man, and she said I'm no lady. So they agreed to get married, and he promised to put the banns in that night. Next day she asked him did he do it, and he said no, 'cause the band was up Troon playing the Tate. And that reminds me why I come round, Tom. I went up sale yesterday and bought a Gate grandfather clock, but when I got home I couldn't get the stand up right, 'cause 'twas too tall. You're the best man get out of a tight corner I ever seed, Tom told Feather. Will you come round and see what best do? I was going home with a bottle of whiskey. When Feather heard about the whiskey, he said, anybody wouldn't be much of a man if he wouldn't help a neighbour if he was in trouble. Sides, 'tis a old wind that don't blow good to somebody, like when Jan Raskillis' wife left him. And he said, now I haven't got so many dishes to wash up. After the bottle was opened and they both had a couple of drinks, Feather asked to see the clock. Yes, he's in the front room. Now is it good for a clock like that, but I wish he'd stopped growing. There was the dear clock, looking some sad lying upon the floor in the parlour. Work, will it? Asked Father. Work, says Tom. He struck 42 times without stopping. Well, if he can do that lying down, I don't know about when he's standing up. Father walked round the clock 3 times looking at him, but that made his head light and sat down and have another drink. Last of all, father shouted, I got him, I got him, made the cat jumping up and scat the milk of the jug off the table. So have I, laughed Tom, but I don't know what I got doing. Tell you what we'll do, said father. Let's cut a hole in the planchette and put the top of the clock up through. 2 heads is better than 1, says Tom, and he got a saw and dag, and soon the clock was standing up. Now that's done, you must have one more drink for the road, as the saying goes. It was dinner time afore father waked up next day to write a note from Tom saying the clock was working some handsome, but every time he wanted to see what time it was, he had to go upstairs. Now this is a little one called Keep Your Clothes On, Ada, by David Prowse. Here, boy, said Jan. Did he read about the woman up the line, stripping down to nothing for a calendar design? I had to lay the law down, and I done on by and by. I said, keep your clothes on, Ada, down the local WI. Oh, don't be daft, said Ada. They aren't getting me undressed. Why, even bathroom mirrors don't catch me without my vest. That's true, says I. You was never one that ventured off the path. You're the only woman I don't know what dress to take a bath. But I'm afraid you might be tempted down at one of they affairs. I wouldn't trust that Mildred Potts for all her fancy airs. I see your husband swimming once, down of the Golden Mile, and all that he was wearing was a trilby and a smile. You keep your clothes on, Ada, as a decent woman do, and if they're looking for a dolly bird, make sure it isn't you. And when you sing Jerusalem, don't close your eyes no more, or you'll be in the Daily Star on pages 3 and 4. See, there's some that's high and mighty and as dainty as you wish, but when they get together 'tis a different plate of fish. Your mother had it right, dear maid, remember what she said. You keep your clothes on, Ada, and don't ever nod your head. You stick to making chutney, dear, and when you and on him, you button up your overcoat right underneath your chin. And if they're taking photographs and wanting you to pose, you be a lady all refined and punch them on the nose. Imagine down the pepper shop the stick there would be for me if you was in on a calendar for all the world to see. They stand there staring goggle-eyed like pictures down the dowel. You're looking pukey, Jan, they'd say, but Eda's looking well. So keep your clothes on, Ada, your spring chicken days are gone. The sands of time has shifted and continued moving on. Every picture tells a story, so the saying goes of old, but there's such a thing as stories that are better never told. Thank you very much.